Code Vein 2 manages to surpass its predecessor and reach the same level as some of the heavyweights of the Souls-like genre. When Code Vein launched in 2019, it was to Dark Souls what Bandai Namco's God Eater was to Monster Hunter, an anime-themed game with a distinct idea but relatively shallow content, and one that didn't quite succeed. While I admired Code Vein's dark atmosphere, it simply wasn't a very good game. That's why it genuinely surprised me to admit that Code Vein 2 is actually very good. Where the first game drew heavily from Dark Souls and Bloodborne, the sequel takes more inspiration from Elden Ring. The clearest example of this is the shift to a fully open world and a more flexible approach to character progression. What truly sets Code Vein 2 apart, however, is its refusal to be constrained, either by its inspirations or by the limitations of its predecessor.
Highways and roads.
The experience begins with the hyper-detailed character creation from the first game, but this time with even more depth, before throwing you into a massive quest, saving the world. It's not the most original story, but the game approaches it with sincerity and commitment. The current world has been devastated by a catastrophic event called the Resurgence, and to stop it, you must explore the past. The area known as Frontier is divided into 3 distinct regions, each representing a hero who was sealed away 100 years ago to halt the Resurgence. You explore both the present and each hero's corresponding past. While much of the terrain is similar, enemies and visuals vary significantly, and your choices can subtly but noticeably alter the appearance of the present. Exploring the frontier doesn't offer the naturalistic, discovery-driven experience of Elden Ring's The Lands Between. Hidden areas aren't scattered throughout your journey, nor is it about ticking off a location checklist. Rewards from exploration are functional and aid your journey. Many dungeons, new weapon forms, upgrades for healing items, or activating regional pathos that grant unique buffs. This system lets you tailor the challenge level in exchange for the time and effort you invest. Your primary mode of transport is a Gothic Baroque-styled motorcycle, which you can summon almost anywhere. The world is full of ruined highways and abandoned train tracks, and enjoying the scenery itself is a pleasure. Splashing through puddles after rain or watching sunlight filter through an overgrown forest makes the ride rewarding. Simply cruising with your partner without a specific goal is also surprisingly satisfying. The motorcycle also has practical uses. You can run down enemies at speed or slide into areas you might otherwise not reach. Occasionally, invisible lulls appear where the developers didn't intend you to go, but even then, the game encourages experimentation, tempting you to attempt daring maneuvers like flying off jumps.
All the bloody action. At its core, this is a Souls-like game, and combat forms the majority of the experience. While it includes many of the genre's staples, they're presented in quite a different way. Blood codes, semi-classes that determine and can dynamically alter your stats, and mystic veils used for drain attacks both return from the first game, but each has undergone significant changes. This time, prisons are completely unique, with only one of each type existing in the world, adding more depth to drain attacks. My personal favorite was the Reaper, which allowed me to parry attacks and immediately follow up with a drain strike, while also leaving my defense Formae slot empty. Blood codes offer special abilities tied to specific bosses or companions that can drastically alter your playstyle. For example, one lets you gain Ichor from normal attacks, but begins draining your health if you exceed your limit. Another new feature is the Bequeathed Formae, divided into offensive and defensive versions, which replaces the original game's dedicated block and parry buttons. Offensive Formae consists of unique weapons tied to each hero, while defensive Formae provides various shields, dodges, and parry tools, allowing you to adapt to your preferred playstyle. You can even remove them entirely for a more challenging experience. One of my favorite aspects of combat is the load system, a completely new approach to stat management. Instead of meeting item requirements, each item's points are deducted from your total, and exceeding your stat limit causes overloading. This introduces both benefits and penalties, making overloading a strategic choice rather than a simple drawback. Enemies are similarly well executed. They're solid and provide enough depth to test your build. But variety is noticeably lacking. Each region adds unique touches to its foes, like enemies respawning in the undead forest, but at their core, they're quite similar. This also applies to most mini-dungeon bosses, who are essentially powered-up versions of regular enemies, so you often know what to expect. Main bosses, however, are consistently excellent. Each feels fun and distinct from the others. While they are relatively few in number, the thematic build-up and mechanical variety leading to them make them one of the game's strongest points.
A Stockholm romance.
When I played the original Code Vein, I couldn't connect with the characters. They were overly grim, melodramatic, and cliché, which made them forgettable. Code Vein 2, however, presents characters with far more depth, and while they're not perfect, I found myself emotionally invested in them. To unlock each hero in the present, you must journey into their past, accompanying them along the way. Fighting alongside them lets you see how they use their unique abilities and learn the events that led to their ceiling. This also makes every major boss fight more compelling. These are the heroes of the past, now battling in monstrous forms. Their tools and tactics, once used by them, are now employed against you. You develop a connection to each boss even before facing them. Josée stands out as a particularly important character. Your first encounters with her and how deeply you influence her past make her one of the most layered characters in the game. She also evolves as a partner, gaining access to a second weapon that changes how she plays. Time traveling to the past is a core part of the story, and the ability to influence it is equally essential. While this requires effort, it ensures you spend meaningful time with each hero. With a relatively small roster, extended interaction naturally fosters attachment. The narrative is structured so that no character is neglected for long, keeping each one relevant. Code Vein 2 doesn't reinvent every standard Souls-like mechanic, nor is it poised to become the genre's next iconic entry. Yet it implements its own ideas fully, which makes it stand out in its class. It also combines surprisingly strong characters, gameplay, and storytelling, delivering a true feast of bloody delights for players.